everybody. Welcome to Improv FAQ at Length. This is a series of longer conversations about improv topics that have lots of questions surrounding them. I'm James Quesada.
And I'm Bob Wick.
And this is going to be a show and tell episode where we talk about shows that we've been a part of and tell each other what we learned from the experience. This one's going to feature an improv team or troupe that Bob was a part of called Homeschool. So it's really our first kind of, with a show, you usually have like a rehearsal process and an initial show run. Shows are usually longer, just in length as like 45 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever. And, so a troupe is a different story. And I'm excited to talk about, the troupe angle on Homeschool because it's a really great troupe. And I just remember having a lot of fun watching the shows. So, I don't know. In a nutshell, tell us about Homeschool, Bob.
So Homeschool, it started. So before we can talk about Homeschool, we have to talk about the Gauntlet, which was a contest that Matt Noss started. It was a rotating, improvised competition. So it wasn't a set date. What you had to do is every Wednesday, there was just 2 slots for the Gauntlet. 2 teams would compete, and the winner got to continue. So, if you win the first round, your second round will be the following week, and you play someone different, and you keep on going until I think the goal was to get to 12, and then you won the Gauntlet. So if at any point you lose, and it's all audience vote, so it's not just putting on a good show, it's bringing in people, because the more people you bring in, the likelihood like they're going to vote for you, your friends and family, hopefully, unless they're very honest and you're very bad, they're going to vote for you. And the part of the gimmick, he promised that if anybody ever got to 12, which was really hard to do, that he was going to make a plaque, and that was what you were going to win.
Yeah.
So one night at the bar, which how most of my stories begin, Jennifer Bloomer, who's now Jennifer Sosha, aka the Indigo Angel for all those who listen to Roach Coach, and I were sitting at the bar with Eric Holliner, and we were just doing bits, and I think we just decided then it'd be fun for the 3 of us to get together and try this Gauntlet thing, and we signed up, and I think me and Jennifer forgot about it. And Eric calls both on the Tuesday like, hey, aren't we supposed to do that Gauntlet thing tomorrow? And we're like, yeah, okay. We went and we lost. We had a great time, though. It was really fun playing with those guys. I think we even like going up to it. No, honestly, now that I think about it, he told us a week before because we did have a rehearsal at my house. We kind of worked some things. I think out of the 3 of us, Jenny was the newest improviser. I've met Eric at the Improv Inferno because he was a part of a big troupe that was there with him, Brad Hicks, and Katie. We're in a troupe called Kedge, which was a really popular group, and I just enjoyed his style, and I was really eager to work with him because he's kind of like someone I grew up watching. He was a senior he was basically a senior when I was a freshman, so gotcha. I just really enjoyed his style, and so the 3 of us went up there. We didn't do well. I think the set was fun, and that's why we continued, but we didn't do the other part of it. Like, we didn't bring anybody in. I think we were kind of, shy, I guess, for lack of a better term. So we went back to the drawing board. At that time, I noticed like Eric and Seiler were doing a lot of stuff together. Andrew Seiler, I just call him Seiler for short. And they have just like this unique energy. So we asked Seiler if he wanted to play with us and join Homeschool. I forgot how we got the name. I think we were just looking for something.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta
remember.
Honestly, that's some of the best easiest times with troupe names is just if it's like, what about this? And everyone goes, yeah, sure.
Yep. I mean, that's what we did with Javelin. Like, that was just like a placeholder until we came up with the real name.
Right.
12 years later. So, and then I also, at that time, a friend of mine, Dan Britton, came back, and I've always been a big fan of Dan's. He was like think that he was a class or two ahead of me at Second City, but he did a lot of like the writing shows there. And he's always been one of those guys. I just love the way Dan talks. Like he does stand up now, and I can't wait to see him because he's just one of those naturally charismatic, interesting guys. And like almost like a Christopher Walken, where his inflection's unique to him and it's really interesting. So the five of us signed up for the Gauntlet again, started rehearsing just because I think that was more of a me thing. I that was how I was trained. Like you get a troupe together, you rehearse, and then you perform. And it was fun. And we went up there not really expecting anything because the last time we did it, we lost. And there really wasn't anybody who had put together more than like 3 wins. I don't think it was a real competition. It was just like a really great opportunity that Matt put together to perform. So we got up there and we won. It was great. I'm like, oh, okay, we get to do this again. We go back the next week, we win again. And then we just kept on winning. And before we realized we had I believe Matt had set up for every 4 wins, you actually get like a monetary prize. I think the first one's like $100. At 8 weeks, it was like $500. Like it kept on going, and I think that was part. Like when you get to 12, you get $1,000 and the plaque.
Yeah.
So
and he would also set up for you to have boss matches. Well, it's just such a funny concept because
I loved it.
Yeah. So at I think 4, 8, and 12, Nas would put together or invite like an existing team of heavy hitters, or just put together some like veteran improvisers to do a set as your competitor, just to make sure that you were that the audience was seeing, you matched against the best improv team, and that it isn't just bringing people to the table. So it's this kind of rite of passage to make sure that you're up against the best quality.
Correct.
And you guys were great. Yeah.
Thanks. Oh yeah. It was just so much fun playing with those guys. It's still some of my favorite people today. Honestly, we don't get to perform with each other that often, but Eric and Sally are doing their thing, and they always come up with really great written shows. They did Frosty together and a bunch of other stuff. I can listen to Jenny talk all the time on her Roach Coach podcast, and that's always a good time. Like her and Lauren together are and Nas together are so interesting. Like I actually care about new metal. I didn't think that would ever be a thing. And then Dan, he's still one of my favorite people. We still talk. And it was just a cool time to do that. Like, and I remember, I think we got to the 8th or 9th win, and then they had to take a break because there was itty bits or bits started. So they had to pause the gauntlet. We were on a roll. It felt like, it got to the point, I think when we got to our 8th win, at first we weren't trying, not because we thought we're cool or anything. It just we kind of wanted to see where it went. Oh, first it was a surprise. And then we kind of wanted to see where it went organically. And then I think either myself or a couple of us got a little more competitive as, we went farther than anybody else has gone before. So how far can we take this, So I think we got to win 8 or 9, and we had to pause for a couple months so the other competition can start.
Yeah. You guys played in that too, right?
Yeah. So,
and was that the first? Was that the first bits?
I think it might have been the first or second.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because so just to kind of put time markers on this, the gauntlet would have started in the late summer or early fall of 2010.
2011? 10, yeah.
I think so, yeah. Because that's 2010, because I remember doing, I think the first round of it. Alex Marr and I did the first round, and so I was super fresh. That was one of my first shows, and I started earlier in 2010. So I think that it would have been late 2010, and then it would make sense because the first year, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is that the show where every time you get a laugh, you edit?
No, our first one was the Proving Grounds, and I think actually because Matt Nas saw that set. He was like, hey, I'm doing the gauntlet and I need 2 teams to do the first round. on kind of short notice, are you guys available? And we did it like I don't know, very soon after that first Proving Ground set where we took bows
Right.
after every edit. But yeah, so 2010 2010 was definitely would have been I'm pretty confident the first year of Bits, because that was also some of the first shows that I saw getting started was the Bits tournament. So year 2, yeah, would make sense that the Gauntlet is a little bit in, and that year 2 of Bits is 2011. And you guys did Bits that summer, like 6 months into being a troupe, less?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
So
I think,
go ahead.
yeah, I think we only got into like round. I don't think we went that far in Bit. So I think, it was kind of hard because we had spent the last 2 months trying to bring in a crowd every week. That when it came to like a newer competition, we had it trying to do that again was, it was a little hard. It was like, cause we've used up all our resources as far as like bringing in, family members. Like, as much as they love you, they don't want to come every Wednesday. That's a rough ask sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious because I guess I didn't quite remember that, one, you started in order to play in the Gauntlet knockout tournament, and that 2, it started as just you, Jen, and Eric. That's so you kind of snowballed into larger numbers and also into having consistent opportunities. Did you start rehearsing at a certain point?
Yeah, there was rehearsals like almost bi-weekly, I think.
Right out the gate, or like after you had your first win?
I think after our first win, I think, if I remember correctly, which it's kind of, it's been a minute since I thought about this. But I do remember going over to Dan's house for rehearsals because he had a bigger house and it was kind of in a central location. And just, I think at some points, and I remember like having these conversations with Jenny because I one of the things I learned was I think at that point I'm trying to find the words. I think I was trying to be maybe too professional. If like I was,
you were being pretty intense about the.
Yeah. Oh, I was
you were putting pressure and stakes on things.
Yeah, because at that time, like, I don't think I was in a launch group yet. I think I felt like this was going to be an opportunity for people to see what I can do. Yeah, okay. And what, because at that time, Eric and Styler have already done a few shows. So, people were aware of them. Just knowing Jenny, like, there was no doubt that she was going to go somewhere because she was, she's Jenny and she's great. Same with Dan. So I was kind of like, this might be an opportunity for me to actually shine a little bit and like maybe get noticed. And I think I took that a little too, I don't know, too intense.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, and Jenny's a really good friend and she always had a way to like say it without saying it and just being nice and like, hey man, you take a breath. Cause this is supposed to be fun. And then she was right. I remember like, we should always wear suits because that's what they did in Second City. Like I was really like, I was really tense. Like, oh man, if we go to a festival, we should wear suits because that's, like look at the walls of Second City. Like that's what they did. That's what you do when you're a professional improviser. You wear a black suit. You dress like
the Reservoir
the Blues
Dogs.
Brothers. Yeah. Yes. Hell.
So was this? Had you been part of like a steady troupe? What was the most committed or consistent troupe that you had been part of before that?
Before that, probably like the most consistent troupe I was in was probably like my class troupe.
Okay.
The Street Rats, I think they were called. Yeah, Street Rats. And it was more of a short form, troupe. And we would rehearse everything, but we didn't really. I take it back. We did getting into the finals of a Colony Fest,
Okay.
like a couple years prior to all this going down. So that was, and then we kind of just dissolve as class troops do.
Yeah.
So I was looking for something.
And this is after the Battle Prov days, right?
Yeah,
So
it's kind of during. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it was mixed in there. Yeah.
So you're like 4 or 5 years in to improvising.
Yes.
Okay.
About 5 or 6. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And then so you what happens over the summer? Because you pick it back up with the gauntlet in the fall. Are you trying to, with like putting like a lot of pressure and whatnot? Are you trying to like really get everyone together and take it real seriously for the return to the gauntlet? Like what does that look like?
That looks like I start recording our sets. I start making commercials for YouTube and stuff to try to build hype.
Shit, I forgot about those. I forgot about that. Yes, I do remember that. I remember you guys like being across the street from Go and like doing quick bits for video commercials. That's so great.
And this is before you could broadcast them from your phone or anything. So like, production was crazy. Eric made a really great one time. It was we were just I was really trying to start a brand, and I didn't have any clue on as to how to do it. So I was just throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, man.
That's so cool. And because something like that, there's two sides of it, right? There's like the side where you are probably stressing yourself out in something that should be more fun than you're letting it be for yourself. That's probably true, right?
Absolutely.
But like the way that homeschool was probably a lot because of your motivation. Like I remember those videos and the way that you guys were like the team that I looked toward before I had any kind of team. I was just kind of playing with the Ypsilanti people, and like Alex and I were a duo, and we were trying to get in the gauntlet too. But like you guys seem like the next step ahead of where I was, and all that little stuff like is motivating for people who I don't know, come into the world of improv with like wide eyes and whatnot. So there is kind of like two sides of it of like, do you get that if you don't have people that are getting riled up about it, and it's a pendulum, right? You get really riled up about it. Jenny brings you back. And you hopefully find balance in like being sort of role models or cool kids on the block. Because otherwise, like, I don't get to see that you guys as a team do that and get inspired to do the same.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. I actually remember we made t-shirts. We had them made.
Yeah.
I think I still got a big old box of them somewhere. So don't make t-shirts. Step one.
Yeah. We'll get back on track with like the storytelling for the timeline of homeschool, but somewhere in there, I was running a bar prov night in Ypsilanti. And homeschool came to do that show. And I remember that being a huge deal for like me and Alex being like, shit, man, Bob's bringing homeschool tonight. Like this is awesome. Like let's pack the house. Let's make sure that like it's good. It's sweet, and you guys, you guys I think showed up in almost full cast, 5 out of 6.
That was
maybe?
everybody. I think everybody but Siler can make it.
Yeah. And it was great. And it's like, how cool that like, I don't know, that kind of like weird indie culture of improv where you guys get to be rock stars at some bar prov thing that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like it's just a cool thing. Cool cultural thing.
Those were great. We should have a talk about those one time.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a fun. Yeah, I do remember that night. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But it really made a big checkpoint for us. And so like what happens when you're going back to the gauntlet after the summer, gearing back up for it?
I think at this point, I think everybody kind of got on board with my energy as far as everybody got a little bit more competitive. Jenny's really at that time. I think she was working at like a storage facility, and something about the way she would write Facebook posts like was really endearing to people, and she would really get like this a following like that. She just has this like voodoo of bringing people in and like, what are you doing? Like what? And so like we had her writing all this copy. We were just trying to make a lot of hype. And I remember, so we get to like week 10 and Matt's talking to us like, hey, it looks like I'm going to have to make a have to make a plaque because who's going to not vote for you? You know, by that time, it felt great. It was like, it was probably, no, it definitely was the first time that I felt like the community was really respecting something I had a part in. And I really enjoyed that. Something about it, you know, it made the show stronger because it made me confident. And I think, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I would have to guess it would be true for them too.
Yeah.
So we have a couple weeks to go before our 12th gauntlet, our big boss. Mm-hmm. And Matt tells us, I got eye candy.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that. I thought it was Mighty Day.
Away. No. I think Mighty Day was our week 8.
Okay.
So, and this is like, to me, eye candy was a rock star. I remember like my classes at Second City, and we're in Novi on Sundays, like noon to 3. We would have lunch and then drive all the way to Ann Arbor just to see a 20, 30-minute set from eye candy, because that's how important seeing long form, specifically from those guys, were. The legend of them getting together, rehearsing, like all the stuff I was trying to emulate, you know, like, oh God, we got to wear suits. We got to like, well, they didn't do suits, but we got to rehearse like, this is important. Like we got to do the mind melt. We have to be on the same page at all times. We have to, you know, promote ourselves. We have to be rock stars of comedy. Yeah. Like I got so much from that, or just watching them and assuming like, oh, this must be what they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So this is also the point in time I realized how competitive PJ is, because
that's funny.
I don't know if you noticed about our friend PJ. Yeah. He is competitive, man. He is a competitive dude. I thought I was competitive. I can't hold it.
Yeah. If you say Nas brought eye candy, but I'll bet you PJ brought eye candy. He was like, these fuckers think they're hot shit. Let me get my guys.
Yeah, I can see that being a thing for real. I specifically remember at that time we lost a dear friend, Dan Seco, and we were at the funeral, and I forgot how it came up. But PJ started talking shit about week 12. It didn't get intense. It was playful, but it was like, we're at a wake, sir. Why are we talking about our improv fucking competition right now?
Yeah. Again, though, it's like, I mean, that's pretty like dark juxtaposition, but also, you know, it's one of those. It is again one of those cultural things of diehard improvisers.
Yeah,
and I'll bet you Dan, not even knowing him, just hearing you guys talk about him, I bet you Dan that would crack him up.
I hope it would.
Yeah.
I hope it would. Yeah. So yeah, we get to week 12, and I was so I again, I want to speak for everybody, but I just remember there being a nervous vibe. Like, what if we don't win? Like, we got all this way. Like, what if the rug gets pulled out from under us? But then we got there, and I forgot how important this was to other people. Like, the theater was packed, and yeah, it felt incredible.
Yeah,
we had and the set, from what I remember, was incredible. And so was eye candies. And then we got to play with them. So that was like, to me, that was, even if I lost, it was just so cool to play with all these people I grew up watching. It was really just an awesome night. And
Yeah.
we won.
Yeah. You guys were the first team to run the gauntlet and to win and get your name on the plaque. And I think there was like three other teams that did it by the time
Yeah.
that the gauntlet got retired. But it was a very cool thing in my memory as well to like see you guys get celebrated to that packed house. And because Matt had put so much like you guys with the troupe and making commercials and stuff, Matt was also trying to like elevate the sense of stakes to the gauntlet, and so it was a very cool, dramatic event to see. And how did it feel winning? Do you remember that night? Like just I don't know, celebrating or not really?
Yeah. Like it was huge, and it was. First of all, it was like just a big relief. Like we didn't try to do this thing, but when we noticed like it was possible, we really kicked it up a gear. I don't know. It just by that time, like I've been improvising 5 or 6 years by then, and I didn't feel like I didn't feel disrespected or anything like that. I never felt like that kind of mentality. I just felt like another dude in a big sea of funny people, and what made me different. So I just felt so great that with everybody, I mean, it took everybody in the troupe came together and just made something really cool happen.
What was it in your mind that like, how did you think about the style of homeschool just as like what you guys bring to the table that's like unique or like unique for you? What was the style that, as you defined it for homeschool?
Well, I remember we did a weird ass for most of as our forum, but the scenes within the weird ass were always like I wouldn't say I believe someone called it mantic energy at some points, and I think everybody's voice was really represented at the same time. We had scenes that were really narrative. If I was kind of the lead. You have that really playfulness of like a Siler and Eric combo, the weirdness of a Jenny and Dan together, like all these unique elements together made something really cool.
Yeah, I think that is, it's interesting because I think that like that is a piece of the Detroit improv style puzzle to me is that combination of like narrative, playfulness and weirdness.
Yeah.
Not that you guys weren't also didn't have like clear games or subtleties, but the emphasis on things that come out of left field and a willingness to follow what a lot of or like one school of improv would probably say that like don't follow plot,
Right.
but there is I don't know more of like some narrative that works its way into Detroit style improv. What did you try to do with the troupe after that point? Like so the gauntlet is done. I think you guys went one more week, didn't you? Didn't you go 13 weeks?
Yeah, we went 13 weeks, and then I don't know. I think we just kind of ran out of steam because,
what else do you do? Like, I mean,
the
peak.
Yeah, and honestly, I think people started losing interest because we did our thing that we're supposed to do, and then it almost came to the point where we became the boss team, and I don't know. I don't think it was as fun being the boss team. I think being on the rise is a lot more fun than being on top, if that's what we can consider it. So yeah, we did 13, and then I think on the 14th or either on the 13th or the 14th we just like we didn't put the effort in bringing people or anything like that. Still a great set, but just I think we're done, and we kept on playing. Actually, after that, we had probably one of my favorite sets of all time at Diff. We were upstairs and was it Como's?
Como's,
when they had that weird they had that weird spot like that, like that I don't know what that dining area, whatever, that they made a makeshift stage.
Yeah, I honestly
And
cannot picture it because I never went. It was only
oh
used
yeah,
for 1 year of diff, I think. What was that space? It was upstairs.
yeah, it was upstairs. It was this long space. It was, I think it was like maybe a banquet, like a small banquet hall
Okay.
almost. And I remember Jenny was hosting that night. Like I think there was like an 8 o'clock block and then a 10 o'clock block, and I think we might have been closing the 10 o'clock block, or later in the 10 o'clock block. And we were down, like the rest of us were downstairs at the bar because upstairs I don't think there was any room upstairs. It was pretty full. And she came down. She's like, guys, that 8 o'clock block it had some great performers, but man, the energy, I don't know, something with that room, and the energy's low. So when they call us up there, we just got to attack that stage. We started hyping each other up. We warmed up. We were ready to go. So we go upstairs, and I forgot who introduced us, but they're like, ladies and gentlemen, here comes homeschool. And we run down the aisle. We jump on stage. Jane's like, woo! She grabbed two beers and two beer mugs and went to clink them together, and they exploded. And she just looked surprised. So we just yes-and her, and we started, going outstairs. We started just flipping stuff, and this is us, I guess. Let's just take this energy and go with it. And it was just this really wild set because we didn't pump the brakes at all.
Yeah. You also did you do other festivals? I know you guys took a trip down to Atlanta a couple of times, right?
Yeah. Once it's homeschool, then Jenny and I went down as our duo.
Okay.
We went down to the basement theater, the SpawnCon festival.
Was that kind of like the next phase for you that you were aiming at? Is can we take this show on the road, or
Yeah.
Because it's hard to after you hit a peak, like we talked about, Matt created this big drama around the gauntlet and everything. So I understand that once you hit that peak moment, that it can be kind of well, where do we go from here? Should we just hang it up while we're ahead? And the Improv Festival for Detroit is also another big landmark, but
yes,
it's kind of hard to set your goals without that carrot, as we say at the end of the road.
Yeah.
So was that what it was for you, as festivals?
Yeah, festivals. I think you've nailed it. I think the problem was at that time there wasn't a way. Well, it was two problems. One problem was, and calling it a problem is probably not the right word. Just so happens that most of us from homeschool were also in Vulcan Hipsters that played every Sunday. So, and I think the only difference between homeschool and Vulcan Hipsters is Vulcan Hipsters didn't have Dan. We had Michelle Giolando, and that was it. It's almost
yeah. And Dan was also playing on Sundays with me in the party. So yeah. It's you guys aren't playing together, but it's everyone's showing up same night of the week.
And then there wasn't really too many opportunities for us to get together weekly, and I think because, we went from playing almost every Wednesday to playing here and there, maybe signing up for, what was that other thing on Wednesday? I can't think of the name of the show where you can just sign up and play, basically.
Proving Grounds?
Proving Grounds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So maybe a Proving Grounds here or there, or there was a couple. I think we were hired to help open the Imagine Theater at some point. Their opening night. Yeah.
So funny,
so there was really cool opportunity. Having that gauntlet win gave us the opportunities to do some really cool things, and we made the most of it. But they became a little more sparse. We didn't have a weekly show. I think because we didn't have a weekly show, we weren't, and myself included, weren't really that interested in rehearsing anymore. So it kind of, it just lost its steam.
Yeah. So did you have a final, did everyone kind of check in and agree that to just kind of let it fade out, or did it kind of, I
think it kind of,
petered out?
It kind of faded itself. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's just kind of I see what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I think at the time, that's about the time, Eric and Siler went off to write Frosty, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
me and Bloomer went our way and we wrote Assembly Required. So, I mean, just because of everything we're doing on Sundays and the Gauntlet win, we just, as individuals, we had opportunities that were different and interesting. I mean, we just spent the last, 6 months, doing this. Like, I think, the newer toy is always a little more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and eventually the Sunday lineup at Go was all launch groups, house teams that once a year were cast, and they just started accumulating, and then eventually, probably shortly after you guys disbanded, which seems like a dramatic term to put on it, but
Yeah.
after it petered out or whatever, not too long after that, the Sunday buffet, the Sunday lineup of teams that go started opening up to indie teams to get semi-regular spots, which was tried in a few different renditions, cycling in teams like once a month or doing 4 weeks, straight out of the same month or whatever. But it's tough for any group, even one that is getting a lot of momentum or successes and cool things like homeschool, to stay together when there's no easy nest to build for a team. At least I imagine that's a struggle and a balance in most improv communities. Is like you have the house teams that are cast by the theater, and you have like indie nights and opportunities, but those are mostly geared toward like giving as much opportunity to everyone. And when it's so competitive and the pool is so deep of indie teams, you can't really, it's so hard to be like, here's an opportunity to have like a consistent run.
Right.
Unless it is like a tournament where you earn your keep, which is stressful after a while. or the entire time.
Right. Yeah, and it wouldn't be fair to like everybody else if it wasn't done in such a, like, why does this group get to play every weekend and this group doesn't, and
yeah. And like, when do you retire them? When are you like, okay, homeschool's been kind of king of the crop, cream of the crop and king of the hill for.
Wow, that was like a Bobism.
Yeah, we're starting to get in sync.
Oh no.
But
I broke James.
Yeah. So let's move away from it. But one next progression is writing, and like you said, the people on that team. One of the cool things about like even having a short run team that has a lot of great chemistry is that you tend to work together for like years after and find ways to collaborate. And you still do, like, I mean, like you said, Eric and Andy are still doing their thing here and there, and it's cool to have like a kind of generation from that same team.
Absolutely. And honestly, I think if we all got together and played again, I mean, it might be rough around the edges, but I still think we can still have fun.
Yeah,
it would still be cool.
Totally. So biggest takeaways from the experience with that troupe, as like your first big, like you said, it represents your voice and you hit some nice peaks and accomplishments that a troupe might aim for. What's the biggest takeaway from homeschool for you?
Oh, I guess like I just had to learn to chill out a little bit, like, because even though like some of the stuff I did, I'm proud of, and I don't really regret. I think that's too strong of a word, but I wish I would have been like, oh, maybe I could have kept some more of this, more of what I was thinking to myself, and letting other people do more, because I think I pressured, like with like the commercials and stuff. Like I think I put too much pressure on people, and I hope I wasn't too much, like to deal with.
So it was kind of affecting the way that you were treating the other people on the team, is where it was really becoming a problem.
Yeah, because I guess I didn't want I guess I wanted us to do it my way, but I didn't want the responsibility of being a leader. And honestly, I don't think they would have voted me as a leader anyways. But like, it just, I don't know. I guess I wish I would appreciate the fun, and I have been a little more playful when it came to that kind of stuff. But I did also learn, like, when you're given an opportunity, go for it, rather than shy away from it. So I do like that aspect.
What would you do differently now, like, to balance those two things? Because they're kind of a little bit at odds with each other. How do you have fun but still swing for the fences?
I think it's all in I think it's all in the presentation of your ideas. So, like, hey, I think maybe doing a commercial would be fun. Is that something you guys would enjoy doing, rather than, like, pressuring them, like, hey, here's my camera, let's go across the street, let's do this, like,
yeah. Let's go.
Make it funny. Let's go.
This gauntlet.
Hey, tomorrow, be there an hour early. Wear a suit.
An hour early in a suit. Oh, that is a great,
that's
like,
a
great
just
imagery
like,
for taking it too seriously.
I do. I feel like I should send them all, like, I don't know, cookies or something. Like, I'm sorry about the suit thing. Like especially like when we went to, I remember specifically going down to SpawnCon, like, man, we have to wear a suit, Jenny. I think you can wear what you want, but I think at Second City, the dress code for females was flat shoes, dark pants, and a dark color blouse. So if you want to wear that, cool. I'm not telling you what to wear, but at Second City.
Did you did you get people to do that? Did you get people to go to Atlanta in a suit for a festival?
Well, dressed up. I wore a tie, and I think that was my best phase. So yeah,
I don't think I ever knew that part of the story. I knew you guys went, and I just remember, again, you trying to find the next thing to aim at for the group, but I don't remember knowing that you got everyone to go in business attire.
I pushed it hard.
That's funny, man.
I don't think we did it during, like, I don't think I pushed it at all during, like, when we played on Wednesdays, because I thought that was more casual. But I want, like,
it's
I
a summer
really thought,
too.
like, I know, I'm such an asshole.
For that kind of anywhere down in Atlanta.
Hot summer in Atlanta. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking, man. I was just so, like, I just really thought, like, this could be huge. And I don't know what the end game was. I just thought, like, man, if we get to the point where we were on the list of this imaginary list. I don't think it ever existed, of, like, top 5 Detroit teams when they put stuff together, like the festivals, or if any kind of, like, special nights go, or any of the other theaters had, they'll contact us, and we get to be part of things that's going on in the community. So yeah. I thought I guess that would have been my end game. I think that's what I convinced myself. If we look professional, we come off professional, our improv is tight, then why wouldn't they invite us to do more things? And it was kind of true. I mean,
yeah, do you guys do Hangovers Eve? They kind of put together a special, like, who's in town, and big bash for the night before Thanksgiving.
I remember the event, but I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure you guys did, but that's an example of, like, trying to work yourself up to that tier. But at like you said, at the expense of doing it in a way that, like, rubs people the wrong way, or isn't good for your well-being. I think that's a great takeaway, is to try to balance those two things. And it speaks to also the friendships that you guys had on that team too, because you have to be, if they're putting up with you, if you're like kind of getting intense or whatever, and like you said, Jenny's able to just give you feedback that is with love and that you're receptive to, then like that's the best case scenario, right? Is that, like, every team is going to go through those things, but if you are able to weather that stuff and keep the love and respect that you have with each other in mind, you can get through it. If you communicate.
Yeah, it did help. Like, all the other people on that team are so easygoing. So
true. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, any other closing thoughts on homeschool?
Not really. Like, again, it was just a really great time in my life. It's some of the best sets I ever had, and just with great people. So it was a great time.
Yeah, one of my favorite teams, and
Yeah.
a major influence in what I was aiming for coming up. So I'm just as happy to talk about it as you are.
Yeah.
Good talk, man.
Too bad MySpace isn't a thing. We could show one of those commercials. It's so bad.
Do you still have it, or like is it just on?
I
did you say
think
MySpace?
I think Eric made one of them. I don't know. I think the ones I made are on MySpace. I think Eric has the rest of them. I don't know if he still has them.
It's funny, man. Yeah, 10 years ago.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Much love to homeschool, and find Improv FAQ on social media. We're on YouTube with this series as well as additional content. You can also find us on Facebook with a little bit of additional content. You can find us on Instagram, and we are working on getting some of our content over there. But
Right.
if you have recommendations and whatnot, you can also send us an email at improvfaq@gmail.com for topics or guests or anything at all. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time on Improv FAQ at length. Bye.
Bye.